Hello, folks. Thank you all so much for getting on here tonight because we have some phenomenal news today. Allison Riggs is our Supreme Court Justice, and Jefferson Griffin has conceded. Thank you all so much for the work that you have done to put into this fight. We are so grateful because we know it has been a 6-month slog for every single one of you, along with the folks at the NCDP. So, first and foremost, I just want to thank our staff at the North Carolina Democratic Party. Thank you to all the hard work that you all have put in to making sure that we have each and every single one of the votes counted and people feeling good about our fight going forward. So, just thank you to the staff and the folks that are on there. I am happy to pass it along to the woman of the hour, our champion of change in North Carolina, the person that has made this fight all possible, and the woman of the hour, like I said, Justice Allison Riggs, everybody. If we can turn it over to her, folks. Can someone ask her to unmute? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I know you're trying. We're going to get you unmuted, Justice Riggs. This is my technical difficulty.
All right, here we go. Good. Thank you, Chair Clayton. Thank you all so much for joining on very short notice to celebrate a really important day for the people of North Carolina and for the people of this country. I know we've said it before, we'll say it again. It has been a long 6 months. And I will not be able to find all of the words today to fully express the depth of my gratitude. I have been doing community and movement work for far long before I was doing political work. And you all are why I did this work. I took on this challenge in the face of spurious, silly, um, awful legal challenges. You all stood up, voters made themselves vulnerable, shared their stories. You all mobilized. We were this close to implementing the most epic, far-ranging chase and cure program known to humankind, not to be melodramatic, but you all also trusted me and you trusted your leaders here that we could win this in a courtroom. And we did win this in a courtroom because of you. And I want you to know that we see you. No one does this alone. We didn't win this election alone. We didn't win this post-election battle alone. It was because you all cared. You all fought tooth and nail for the right thing. And you are why we can have nice things here in North Carolina and across the United States. So I want you to know that we all know that the 68,000 eligible North Carolina voters whose lawful ballots were challenged, they're not names on a list. They are real people. They are real people who were burdened and scared and confused and they tried to silence them. But we said in one unified voice, we will not be silenced. We will not let this happen. Democracy doesn't die here in North Carolina, and it doesn't die on our watch. So I'm going to keep telling you, thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart for many days to come. But I also want to leave you with this important note, because it's something I've been thinking about all afternoon. This was a near miss on a constitutional crisis, and it wasn't the first one that we've had. And we cannot keep having near miss after near miss. And as a constitutional officer, it is my job to stand up and speak out when the rule of law and the very underpinnings of our democracy are at issue. And if we take away anything from this, it has to be that we cannot forget. We cannot keep doing this over and over again. We have to keep telling voters that this is the other side's judicial brand now. This is what they have decided to own instead of putting country and the Constitution above party, they have chosen to prioritize personal political ambition. And we will not forget, you will not forget, this fight was never about me. It was never about one race. It was never even just about this state. It was about making sure that in our country, people decide who wins elections. People hold all of the power, and politicians don't get to interfere with that. And so please know that I am as firmly committed to making sure that Justice Anita Earls gets reelected in 2026 as I was to fighting this insidious attack on your fundamental rights. I am just as committed to making sure that we do not forget, that we do not repeat, and that this country continues to be one where we put people over the powerful. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Justice Riggs. I know that you can see all the love coming in the chat box, but we cannot tell you how grateful we are to have had your leadership. I know, at least for me coming into this as a state party chair, Justice Riggs was the most prepared person coming into this fight. Someone asked us last week, they said, man, you've got to be confident because you're a chair. And I'm like, no, I'm confident because we have Justice Allison Riggs on our side. So I am very, very grateful to all of the work, the hardship that it's put you, your family through. All of us owe you a great deal of gratitude. And I hope today that you get to go celebrate and shine in the spotlight because this is your day. And so thank you so much for everything that you've done for our party. We deeply, deeply appreciate it. Now I get to bring up our fantastic voter protection director, Kat Lawson, because let me tell y'all something. What Justice Riggs just said is true. Republicans are not done. This is the first attempt. This is not the last attempt in the state of North Carolina. And we know that we have got a hell of a fight going forward to defend against this, especially as we see the changeover in our state board of elections from Democratic control to Republican control for the first time in over 100 years, that this power has been given to the state auditor's office instead of being held under the governor's office in North Carolina, thanks to our Republican state legislature. So, Kat, I'm going to turn it over to you for you to give folks an update about the processes that we're going through right now with our county boards, and hopefully people can feel more confident in the process going forward.
Absolutely. Everybody, thank you all so much for being here tonight. I mean, none of this would have been possible without your continued effort, attention, energy, time, and money. And in the same, like, obviously, Justice Riggs has been the most amazing candidate for us all to rally around. And we are so grateful for everything that you've done to support her. And now our job is to make sure that we are doing the work and laying the foundations necessary to protect Justice Anita Earl's seat, to protect our seats on the Court of Appeals in 26, and to take back our courts in 2028. And so some of the things that we have learned through this entire process are how we're going to do that. First of all, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that relationships with and the actions of county boards of elections matter. How they vote on recording provisional ballots matters. How much they open up voting sites for early voting, for Sunday voting, what the rules are going to be and the trainings are going to be for precinct officials. All of these things are issues that we used to be able to, not really, but there are things that we got away with not paying a ton of attention to in the past, right? We were able to trust that there was some shared belief between Republicans and Democrats that at least the processes of voting were supposed to work in a particular way. And we know now that with the Republican takeover of our state board of elections and with our county boards of elections, we don't get to assume that. We don't get to assume that we have good partners, at the very least, in how the game is played. And so we're going to be showing up. We have volunteers who are going to be going to those county boards of elections, attending, watching, taking notes, responding in time to make sure that we are never acting without the full information. We know more than ever that elections don't end on election day. Justice Riggs was down on November 5th because there were still processes that had to be done to count all the votes that had been cast. She knew, because she's been such a leader in this space for so long, that those votes, right, were going to come in, they were going to be processed. We needed a chase and cure program. We need to build into, and we are building into all of our election processes going forward, the default position of there is always going to be chase and cure. We are always going to chase and go after every last vote to make sure that it is part of that final tally. We know that we're going to have lawyers on standby, ready to go from day one, because as much as I hope that there is a future in which Republicans stop trying to cheat the rules and overturn these elections in the future, We're not going to wait for them to show good faith in order for us to make sure that we are fully equipped to respond to them, to fight them, to win these battles in court if we need to. But at the end of the day, as much as I have faith in judicial processes, as much as I have faith in the rule of law and the protections of the Constitution, the best way that we can defend and make sure to protect votes is to get a lot of votes into that ballot box. We need to turn up, we need to turn out for all of our races all the way down the ballot. It is not enough to just think that a governor or that an attorney general is going to do enough to protect all the votes all the way down. We need to be voting down ballot. We need to be turning out for our judicial candidates. And we have so many opportunities to do that for Justice Anita Earls in 2026 and our other candidates on the courts. And so you all will be hearing so much from us, including from Anderson right now, about your next opportunity to stay engaged, to stay paying attention, because the second Republicans think they can get away with cheating us, the second they think they can get away with pulling one over on voters, with getting power that they have not earned, they're going to take that chance. And so the work right now of us in this moment in history, in this moment in time, is to keep up the fight, even when, right, it's an off cycle, even when it feels like the stakes might be lower, because the work that we do now is what sets the stage for our victories later on. So Anderson, I will kick it back to you, and thank you all again.
Thank you so much, Kat. And to Kat's point, I saw it dropped in the chat box. How do we defend against gerrymandering? How do we make it so North Carolina is not a gerrymandered state any longer? We did the first thing, and we got our first victory on a checkbox on that fight. We've been saying that for a little bit, but now it feels official as of today. And so holding Justice Riggs' seat is the first step in that fight back. Holding Justice Earls' seat. She's the only Democratic Supreme Court justice that's up in 2026, the only seat that's up on the bench. And in 2028, we have the ability to take 3 Republican seats on the North Carolina Supreme Court. And that opportunity, including a Chief Justice seat. And that opportunity is going to be able to give North Carolina Democrats the ability to reverse partisan and racial gerrymandering for us, because we are not going to sit back and take that power and not do anything with it. We're going to do exactly what Republicans did to Democrats when they took control of our courts, which is to make partisan and racial gerrymandering legal again. Justice Riggs and Justice Earls are very excited to be leading up that fight together, and the state party is excited to be able to support both of them in the efforts this year to be able to win back our courts by 2028. It's the vision forward, and you all are a huge part of that. And so how we're going to be kicking off Justice Earls' re-election campaign, though, and I think, Becca, if y'all could get the slides up if there are any, but there are 2 different links that we have got for you all. We're going to be doing a very cool hybrid judicial launch, and so you all can join us out of 30 towns. We're having one big party, but wherever you are in North Carolina, there is a town or an opportunity near you to get involved with our party and to also be able to launch our judicial campaigns across the state. We have also got 3 very important Court of Appeals seats that will be up in 2026. And so we'll have Judge Hampson and Judge Arrowood out there with us as well. Judge Hampson was part of the Court of Appeals bench that got to hear the case that came before, or Justice Riggs's case that came before. And if you all have not seen a very fiery Judge Hampson, we would love to be able to send out that to folks afterwards too, so that you can see how he defended your rights on our Court of Appeals and why it's so important to elect Democrats, not just at our state Supreme Court level, but we're also looking at the building bench to get to our Supreme Court too. And so you can join us for this, or one more slide, I believe. You can join us for the People's Town Hall. So if you are anywhere near New Bern or out in Greg Murphy's CD3 district, we are going to be bringing another town hall out with Justice Anita Earls. So she will be visiting. And we're also going to have the DNC First Vice Chair, Raina Walters Morgan, who's from North Carolina and is also a voter protection advocate in her own right. She used to be the voter protection director at the DNC before she became our lovely First Vice Chair now of civic engagement and voter protection at the DNC. So if you all are able to join us and you're in the area, or you know folks that are, or just you can help us amplify that this is happening, we would love to make sure that folks get to meet Justice Earls in person, because we know that this election cycle is going to be won or lost on the margins. As you all just saw, from 734 votes from Justice Allison Riggs, you know, you're looking at the 918 votes that Representative Dante Pittman broke a Republican supermajority with in our state house this last election cycle, or you're looking at Terrence Everett, who won a state Senate seat in North Carolina by about 100 134 votes last election cycle. Everything we do is margins, margins, margins. And so the canvassing, the door knocking, the work that you all did this last election mattered more than anything. I know it did not get us the entire time our federal win that we needed, but I hope that y'all understand it mattered when it comes to statewide races and down ballot races that we need to defend North Carolina against the Trump administration that we're seeing right now. And you all did that too. Jeff Jackson, a huge shout out to our Attorney General's office right now, folks, as well, because he has been a true fighter for North Carolinians, especially throughout this fight also, and someone that you all helped elect last election cycle too. And so you have a lot to be proud of with the work that North Carolina Democrats are doing and are going to continue to do on the ground. My last plug for you all is that if you're looking at, this has made you tired and fed up and you're like, man, I want to do something more than just canvas or just, being able to phone bank this year, I would love for folks to be able to run for office. And so this is my pitch to you. If you're someone who thinks that you can represent your community better than the Republican that's in that school board seat or that city council seat in your backyard, we want to help you be able to do so. We've got Christy Boer, our training director for the state party, on here tonight too. She has done a fantastic job with how to run for office trainings, and we'd love for you all to join us for one of those as well. Or you can go to ncdp.org/run-for-office and get involved with us today, because we desperately need good people to step up and run across our state. We saw it with Justice Riggs, but we can also see it this year with our municipal elections across North Carolina. So that's my last plug. I just want to again say thank you all so much. We're not going to hold everybody on here for a long time tonight, but we did want to do a very quick just thank you celebration effort, because this has been a long, hard fight. And Justice Riggs, we're so grateful to you for the amount of strength and dedication and fight that you've shown what national Democrats need to be doing right now too, in every single way, shape, and form, fighting it out in the ballot box and in the courtroom. So thank you again to everybody on here. We so appreciate y'all. Bye, everybody.